Asclepius, Wikipedia article audio. Asclepius, Latin, Asclepius was a hero and god of medicine in ancient Greek religion and mythology. Asclepius represents the healing aspect of the medical arts. His daughters are Hygeia, Iaso, Asso, Aglaia/Eagle, and Panacea. He was associated with the Roman/Etruscan god Vadiovis and the Egyptian Imhotep. He was one of Apollo's sons, sharing with Apollo the epithet Paeon. The rod of Asclepius, a snake-entwined staff, remains a symbol of medicine today. Those physicians and attendants who served this god were known as the Therapeutae of Asclepius. The etymology of the name is unknown. In his revised version of Frisk's Griechisches Etymologisches Wörterbuch, R.S.P. Beeks gives this summary of the different attempts. Etymology. Family. Beeks suggested a pre-Greek proto-form * at Y-clap. Asclepius was the son of Apollo, either by Coronis, daughter of Phlegyas, or by Arsinoe, daughter of Leucippus of Messenia. He was the brother of Areopes. Asclepius was married to Epion, with whom he had 5 daughters, Hygeia, Panacea, Asso, Iaso, and Aglaia, and 3 sons, Machaon, Podalirios, and Telesporos. He also sired a son, Aratus, with Aristodama. He was the son of Apollo and, according to the earliest accounts, a mortal woman named Coronis. His mother was killed for being unfaithful to Apollo and was laid out on a funeral pyre to be consumed, but the unborn child was rescued from her womb. Or, alternatively, his mother died in labor and was laid out on the pyre to be consumed, but Apollo rescued the child, cutting him from Coronis's womb. Apollo carried the baby to the centaur Chiron, who raised Asclepius and instructed him in the art of medicine. It is said that in return for some kindness rendered by Asclepius, a snake licked Asclepius's ears clean and taught him secret knowledge. Asclepius bore a rod wreathed with a snake, which became associated with healing. A species of non-venomous pan-Mediterranean serpent, the Aesculapian snake, is named for the god. Mythology. Asclepius became so proficient as a healer that he surpassed both Chiron and his father, Apollo. Asclepius was therefore able to evade death and to bring others back to life from the brink of death and beyond. This caused an influx of human beings, and Zeus resorted to killing him to maintain balance in the numbers of the human population. At some point, Asclepius was among those who took part in the Caledonian boar hunt. Birth. Zeus killed Asclepius with a thunderbolt because he brought Hippolytus back alive from the dead and accepted gold for it. Other stories say that Asclepius was killed because after bringing people back from the dead, Hades thought that no more dead spirits would come to the underworld, so he asked his brother Zeus to stop him. This angered Apollo, who in turn killed the Cyclopes who made the thunderbolts for Zeus. For this act, Zeus suspended Apollo from the night sky and commanded Apollo to serve Admetus, king of Thessaly, for a year. Once the year had passed, Zeus brought Apollo back to Mount Olympus and revived the Cyclopes that made his thunderbolts. After Asclepius's death, Zeus placed his body among the stars as the constellation Ophiuchus. Some sources also stated that Asclepius was later resurrected as a god by Zeus to prevent any further feuds with Apollo. It was also claimed that Asclepius was instructed by Zeus to never revive the dead without his approval again. Education and adventures. The most famous temple of Asclepius was at Epidaurus in northeastern Peloponnese, dated to the 4th century BC. Another famous healing temple was built approximately a century later on the island of Kos, where Hippocrates, the legendary father of medicine, may have begun his career. Other Asclepia were situated in Trichala, Gortys, and Pergamum in Asia. Death. From the 5th century BC onwards, the cult of Asclepius grew very popular and pilgrims flocked to his healing temples to be cured of their ills. Ritual purification would be followed by offerings or sacrifices to the god, and the supplicant would then spend the night in the holiest part of the sanctuary, the abaton. Any dreams or visions would be reported to a priest who would prescribe the appropriate therapy by a process of interpretation. Some healing temples also used sacred dogs to lick the wounds of sick petitioners. In honor of Asclepius, a particular type of non-venomous snake was often used in healing rituals, and these snakes, the Aesculapian snakes, slithered around freely on the floor in dormitories where the sick and injured slept. These snakes were introduced at the founding of each new temple of Asclepius throughout the classical world. Sacred places and practices. The original Hippocratic oath began with the invocation, "I swear by Apollo the physician, and by Asclepius, and by Hygeia and Panacea, and by all the gods." Some later religious movements claimed links to Asclepius. In the 2nd century AD, the controversial miracle worker Alexander claimed that his god Glykon, a snake with a head of linen, was an incarnation of Asclepius. The Greek language rhetorician and satirist Lucian produced the work Alexander the False Prophet to denounce the swindler for future generations. He described Alexander as having a character made up of lying, trickery, perjury, and malice, facile, audacious, venturesome, diligent in the execution of its schemes, plausible, convincing, masking as good, and wearing an appearance absolutely opposite to its purpose. In Rome, the College of Aesculapius and Hygeia was an association that served as a burial society and dining club that also participated in imperial cult. The botanical genus Asclepias is named after him and includes the medicinal plant A. tuberosa or pleurisy root. Asclepius was depicted on the reverse of the Greek 10,000 drachmas banknote of 1995-2001. Sources.